for the trades. I am your host, Christene Marie, founder of Foundation First Marketing, co-founder of Foundation First Marketing. And I'm so thrilled to be here with you all tonight, y'all. I am sticking with going live daily. For those of you who are joining live, it is quite late on the East Coast. It's 4 minutes till midnight. So I have been having a very long day, but I'm very happy to be here with you. I was sitting and thinking about what it is that, we're on part 4 of this episode series around how to improve the lead to customer journey. And we've had really good conversations over the last few days leading up till today, but also just all of the context building up and kind of ramping up to this moment. You know, we talked about succession and scale and sale and like, what are we doing in terms of why are we making the business decisions we are today? Who are we doing it for? And what is the long-term vision? Because y'all, it is so easy to get into the grind of the day-to-day and really forget and lose sight of our why. Just this weekend, I sat down with a couple and really dove deep into their business and where are they going? And frankly, where does the husband and where does the wife fit in? And really kind of picking apart, okay, what's possible? What could be the case? And where are we, either one of us, getting in the way of our own potential? And so it was a really, really good conversation. Brian, hello. Thank you so much for joining. I'm very late tonight, but I'm glad to see you're here. Y'all, tonight, as we are continuing to build, so building on, okay, what are we doing? Are we selling the business, scaling, or looking for a succession? And then next, what constitutes a strong brand? How does a strong brand show up online? And then that was really the catalyst for the conversation of, okay, how do we, once the customer or once the lead comes to our website, what do we do after that? So this whole conversation is really, really geared towards someone is proactively coming to me. So it's inbound marketing. They are coming to us and reaching out to us. It's very different than us going out and soliciting customers. And so with this whole process of they're coming to us, and how do we respond? What does it look like for a strong brand to engage in a way that is memorable, in a way that gives a great customer experience rather than just a good one, and really emphasizes on we're here to serve rather than show up in a way that either is not differentiated, we sound and look and feel just like all of our competitors. And frankly, there's really no amplification of the customer. What I mean by that is, are we really making them feel so connected to us, so understood, so seen? And so at these touch points from lead to conversion, it's such an important process. And we talked yesterday about how think of it as buckets of water, each stage of the customer journey. So the lead coming in is bucket number 1. Bucket number 2 is scheduling an appointment and going through the appointment process. Bucket number 3 is the process of the design and curating the proposal to fit what their needs are. Bucket number 4 is fulfillment. And then bucket number 5 is what happens to them after they're done working with us. And y'all, bucket number 5 is so often ignored. And so we're going through this whole entire customer journey process. But right now, what we're really focusing on is bucket number 1 and the transition to bucket number 2. And the reason when we're talking about we don't want any leakage is, I think of it as, the water in the first bucket is, the customer arrives, and then you've got the department effectively transfers the customer or the lead to the next bucket, which is the appointment. So you're pouring water into the next bucket, and how much is leaking out? How much water is spilling because of our lack of process, our lack of system, our lack of maybe even care, which is sad to admit, but sometimes that's the case internally. Sometimes there are folks that just really don't have a real semblance of responsibility over how they're contributing to the overall process. And so this analyzation of lead to appointment and then also through down until we've actually secured the job is really important. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about is a CRM, effectively how we are maintaining the customer relationship management process and the way that we're managing the relationship, the way we're managing their data, the way that we're managing all of the information we have around the customer. And so there's a couple of different points I want to talk about with a CRM. So a lot of folks love Service Titan. Other folks use Builder Trend. Frankly, one of our clients had a custom CRM, which was pretty difficult for a number of reasons. One, when it's all built kind of in real time, any change or addition you want to make, it's time consuming and it takes a while, but there's also a lot of autonomy over that. So if you have the scale to do that, what I would encourage you to do is maintain a paid CRM until that one is tried and proven, tested. If you have a CRM that you're trying to customize and build out for yourself, and again, the CRM, the goal is that you're able to manage the entire process. All 5 of those buckets can be watched, observed, managed, and even I would even say played with and manipulated within that process, because you want to be able to automate people, the moving through the buckets, where somebody can click a button and that customer or that lead moves to the next stage of the customer journey. And so the quality of your CRM is most likely going to be indicative to the customer experience and the quality of the employee experience. Y'all, this is a big one. The CRM actually is so much for your internal team. It is very difficult for marketing to come in and do its job and be able to analyze where is their spillage, where is their leakage as we transfer the water of the customer from one bucket to the next. If we're not able to have full visibility, we can't take full responsibility. And so like we talked about yesterday, a really good marketing CMO, this is higher level, a really good CMO is going to look not just from lead to appointment to sale, but they're going to look at all the way what happens at the customer, the very, very end of the life cycle. Do they repeat? Do they come back? Do they refer us? What happens at the end of that cycle? Because customer lifetime value, where it's, okay, what's the entire lifespan of what this customer how we can work with this customer? It's not just a one-time sale. A good marketer is not going to be thinking of just this one-time feat, but it's how can we get this person to be an evangelist for us and to be a lifetime customer? And sometimes what that means is we actually have to intentionally put new services in place to allow for an ongoing relationship. And man, y'all, when we can think about it from that lens, now we're thinking scale is no longer contingent on every new prospect. But man, let's look at our database of all these people. Now we have a new way to sell to them and engage with them in a way that really genuinely makes a difference for them in their home or in their lives. So the ability to serve and extend beyond just that one-time service. But for the CRM to really hold its own potential, it needs to be able to be automated. It needs to be able to be manipulated by the internal employees. And when I say manipulated, I mean going in and putting in notes about the customer, adding new custom fields, sharing it between departments so that everyone can see. This is effectively like the directory. So think of it as a directory for your customers. I can go in and I can get the full profile of Susan. And Susan King, man, I know everything about Susan. I know the date that she got logged into the CRM. I know what conversation she had with our call center. I know the conversation that took place between the call center and the salesman. And then I know the date that the appointment was. And then I know what happened every step of the journey. And so the more clarity we have into that, the more we can customize the way and manner in which we engage with our customers. And y'all, this is where I've talked about this a little bit, and we'll dive deeper into AI later on, but this is where AI really can help us out. The more AI can track the progress of the customer, the more it can help with automations, personalization, passing along information. Hey, don't forget, this is another thing. Don't forget it's Susan's birthday next week. Can you imagine 2 years from now getting a happy birthday email from your plumber? That's unbelievable. Of course I'm going to use that plumber next time. And here's another thing. Maybe you don't need your plumber for a couple of years, but then when I go search my inbox, I can actually go to my inbox to search for the plumber, because there's no way I remember the plumber's name after 3 or 4 years. But man, if I've got consistent touch points with the plumber since I've used them for those little meaningful moments, so it's not just all salesy, but it's maybe a Merry Christmas, maybe it's a happy birthday, maybe it's, hey, we came to visit you 4 years ago, just wanted to check in on how the status of your toilet is. And then whenever you do have that new service line or new product offering for recurring service, that one of the best ones is a maintenance program. So once you do have that established, you've already been nurturing these people along the way. So that's another benefit. When you have a good CRM, it's able to track, yes, the entire life cycle of the customer when we're doing business with them, but it also allows for the personalization on the other side of it after bucket 5. After bucket 5, bucket 5 is endless until they come back and repeat service. Then they kind of start at the top again. Bucket number 5 is a trench. It's a well. It's never ending in some ways until we've done the work to get them to come back to the top of the funnel, and then they repeat the steps again. So this CRM process, it really is so important for us to have this conversation around what and why is it important? Because for a lot of times, I got involved with one particular client, and frankly, we're running digital ads for them, but they have no place to put the leads. So we're bringing in leads, but they don't have a home. This is why I liken it to a directory. The directory grows with every new addition. The directory expands, it becomes more in depth, it becomes more nuanced, it contains meaningful data. And one of the benefits to that as well is, I came into another client, and, Foundation First, we primarily do digital marketing. We'll also work in strategic consultant capacities as well. And, part of digital marketing isn't just doing all paid advertising, but it's also, hey, when's the last time you sent out a really meaningful email campaign? When's the last time because here's the thing, you own those emails. You don't own the ad placements. You own the emails. So you get to show up in these people's inboxes. And y'all, there's an art form to writing emails so that it really is meaningful. And again, it's personalized. It's actually delivering real value. It's not bombarding. It's not annoying. I really, honestly, there's a part of me where I really hate selling. And so I think that that's part of what makes me a better marketer, is because I don't want to annoy people and I really want to serve. Like, I really, really value people, and I value the relational component. And so the more we think relationally towards these leads, towards our customers, towards our old customers, and we really see the value that we're able to bring to them, that empowers and emboldens our message. And it also provides boundaries so that we don't annoy them. I'm just looking here to see if there's anything else that I wanted to share about a CRM. I think we covered most of it. One of the things that I wanted to say about the personalization, it's not just on the other half of it. The personalization throughout the entire process, especially in this lead to customer conversion cycle, the more that we can allow for automated text messages, we talked about that a couple days ago, automated text messages, automated emails, ideally calling them right away. But the more we can allow for the personalization based on the information that they input in the form, if you get their city, if you get their zip code, if you get their name, the thing that's cool about location is that you can actually really get specific. If people are within a certain geographical region, you know that they're coming from this neighborhood. And so you can effectively assign different tailored personalized messaging around things happening in that neighborhood. And this is where, man, again, AI can really, really be an asset for personalization, because they can go and read the background on the data in that region in a way that, frankly, it would just take so much manual time that we just don't have that time available to us. But if we can know, hey, this is what's going on in this neighborhood, this is what's going on in this county or this city, then we can say, hey, and P.S., good luck to the Seahawks, or good luck to whatever the sports team is, whatever honestly, if there's something big happening in that town, I think sports is a really fun one to rally around. And you can have a fun, friendly little debate there. But there's fun things you can do, and you can personalize based on location and based on even just making it, hey, Sandy, so glad to see that you filled this out. And then you can be service specific as well. We saw that you had a question around what is it? Around your waterproofing, around your basement. Our waterproofing, and then that's where you can actually add in maybe a customer testimonial about that service in that area. Maybe you can personalize it, and I'm just getting creative here. You can pull in a review from that city the personalization. You can pull in obviously the personalization around like, hey, this is a sports team that's in their town, make it fun and engaging in that way based on what your values are. Again, you want to stay true to your values. So if it's not authentic, don't do it, please. The goal is relationship building, because that relationship is so meaningful and it makes them feel really understood and seen along the way. And it's rewarding for the employees. When you talk about customer retention and employee retention, it goes both ways. Both of them want to have a meaningful relationship. So 11 Brian, make a wish. Y'all, I'm going to hop off. I'm so glad that we got through this pretty efficiently. This is a really, really important conversation. So we might end up doing a part 2 on this tomorrow. But for now, thank you so much for joining me tonight on Foundation First Marketing. Let me know if you want a free audit on your marketing. Would love to chat with you. But in the meantime,